Right, I want to talk to you now about setting up to a bunker shot. I want to talk about the difference between how I was taught when I was younger, sort of, I suppose 1990s and earlier coaching technique versus the modern day technique, because it is quite different and it's quite interesting how it's changed. Now, I'm using this rake here really just to show you what my alignment is. So that's my target line. So I'd be looking to start my ball over that rake. So it's going to go hopefully in between these two flags here. Now, when I was taught, so growing up, I was taught how to play a bunker shot was to line the club face up to the right. So if I put this pointer on here, first thing I need to do is turn the club face to the right. Then I need to open my stance, and then I'd make a golf swing that cuts across the ball, and the ball's going to hopefully come out on the target line. Now, there's a couple of problems with doing it that way. One is that because I've opened that club face so much, and because I've given it such a glancing blow across to the left, it means that the ball is going to come out with a lot of side spin. So the ball's going to want to curl to the right or spin to the right. It also makes it quite hard to get forward momentum on the ball because I'm sort of cutting across the ball so much. So, opinion has changed. We now don't teach people to do it this way. Rather than turning that club face to the right, we're going to use a thing called face plane tilt. Now, what is that, I hear you say? Well, if I've got my golf club here, now when I open that club face up to try and get a bit of loft on the club wants to point more to the right. What about if I hit the golf club here, turn it to the right, and then lower the shaft down? So you see how when I lower that shaft down, it actually makes that club face point more down the target line. Now we're going to use that in our setup. So I open the club face up, but now I'm going to lower the hands down. So I'm lowering that shaft down. So what that means is, even though I've got lots of loft on the club, because I've lowered my hands down, the club face is actually pointing down the target line. Now for us, that's great because it means we don't have to open our stance up. And if we don't have to open our stance up and aim way to the left, that means we can just make a normal goal swing. We don't have to worry about cutting across the ball. We can just swing straight down our target line, if you know what I mean. And the ball should come out on the target line. So I start by opening the club face up, then I lower that shaft down. So now the club face points down my target line. You'll notice I have to stand further away from the ball to achieve that. If I was to stand in my normal position, my hands would be touching my legs. So I lower that shaft down, and now I can set up pretty square, but still with lots of loft. So my stance is pretty square. I've got lots of loft on the club, and now I can just do my golf swing. I don't need to worry about cutting across the ball. I don't need to worry about that ball spinning too much to the right because I've got lots of loft and I've got a lower shaft. I've lowered that shaft down to make use of face plane tilt. So much easier way of doing it.